I do feel when I start a canvas, I'm launching into space, and I'm taking apart, I'm moving space around with color. I'm creating tension through composition. I did start painting very early. I was 14 when my father saw the art gene come out in me, and he had it. And so he said, we're going to get her painting lessons. So we did color theory first off, and that's how color is for me. It's very organic. It's not memorization, it's learned, it's in you. So there's two kinds of paintings in my world. One is inspired from life, more representational, even though it's loose. And that work comes out generally early in the day. The work that doesn't come out ever in the morning is the abstracted work. That's the internal work. And I wish I could call that work, that energy to come, but I can't. And it will generally come around 3 or 4 o'clock, the earliest. And I'm not sure if it's because I'm tired and I don't give a whatever, but it just, I can let go and have fun. So I have had many lives, and I knew at an early age, I was very fortunate that I knew what I wanted to do. I followed a teacher who taught at Yale because another friend of mine who was a teacher at Cooper Union said, you need to paint with this guy because he's really good. And I did, and he was at Hunter in New York, Hunter College. And he said, why do you want to paint? And I said, it's really not a choice. It's what I need to do. It's really what drives me. And I said, I think if I stay at it really intensely for 10 years, I'm going to get really good. And he said, 5. And then I went to the Art Students League, which is where every painter should go. I had an easel wherever I lived. And most of the time, when the apartments were small, those studios, it was there in that space, or it was always in the living room, or it was near the light. But I was never without the ability to paint. I got a lot of grief from galleries early on that, what's your thumbprint? Who are you? And I'd say, I'm all of those things. I'm sorry, but that's who I am. I just transition quickly, and then I'll come back and I'll revisit. And I remember reading about Diebenkorn, how he did that, and he got a lot of grief from the art world because he started going back toward the figurative, and they didn't like that. Another wonderful curator, she was at the Montclair Museum, she said, Maureen, you have a very distinct palette. She said, don't ever let anybody tell you that you don't have a thumbprint. I just launch into canvases, and someone will say, well, how do you start? I'll start with a color that wants to come out. It's really interesting, and that's why I have all these different colors here, because they really, when I feel a color, I need to grab it right away. Yes, I mix colors. Even from there, I'll mix. But it generally starts with an emotion. It's not so much an emotion in that I'm torn or I'm jealous or I'm upset, because if I am moody, I never go to the studio. I can't take credit for the abstracted work that comes out. The Greeks have this term that there's no such thing as genius. Genius visits. And I have to say, I have experienced that, where I honestly can't tell you how I even started that painting or how that happened, but I am so excited that I was the presenter. It was about the recognition. It wasn't ever about the work. I always loved the work. But I'd look at my work and I'd look at other artists, and I always compare myself to the masters, to the greats. I want to go all the way up and say, how do you fit and what do you see, and are they better? Why are they better? So I always have a critical eye, but I've never stopped loving what I'm doing. My favorite painter still is the master of all, and to me, no one's replaced him, is John Singer Sargent. The Economy of Stroke is his middle name. I like Manet. I thought his palette was stunning. I like Gorky because he's quirky, and there's that quirky side to me. And I have frequently, with the abstracted work, been compared to a great honor, Diebenkorn. I love music. I thought for years and years, next lifetime, I was going to come back as a musician. It definitely changes the energy in my body. I like very specific rhythms. I like joyful music. I'd like to think that I put joy in my work.
So you just shared with me that this was in your museum show, and it's called Isle of Palm.
Yeah.
Tell me about it a little.
So I went to visit my kids down in South Carolina, and just driving around, the architecture is absolutely exquisite. And all of the houses have these incredible plantation shutters. So the vertical lines are going through my head the whole time I'm driving around. And you know, the palm trees come out, and the light, because it is very different, because it's flat. You know, it's very flat down there, so they get an intense amount of light. Normally when I have my painting sessions, my internal painting sessions, they generally last for about 4 days. They did not come from that, because that color, purple, is way stronger than this. I will paint in this grouping for about 4 days. So this is called meditation, and I do meditate. I try. I'm not really good at it. Very energetic person. They're kind of large celestial bodies. I love orange. It's sort of like my signature, which I never really realized until someone said, God, almost every painting you've painted has orange in it. The line work is so big in my world, and I wasn't even aware of it until people started saying, where are those little squiggles? I like those lines that you put in. How you work your edges, it's everything. What I like to do with landscape, since I teach the modern landscape, is I like to try and pare it down to the very essentials of it. Almost like my own color field, to see what's left when everything else goes away. I like the way the space is divided, and it's very creative. And the other reason I really love abstracts is because it lets people get involved. They have to stop and think about whatever, like how does it make me feel, what is it, what's going on, and I like that. It demands participation.